How you doing? I'm Callan and this is Slapped Ham. You're about to witness the scariest videos that have hit the internet this week. So hit that subscribe button and get ready for more creepy content. Just like this. Our first photo of the day was sent in by a viewer named Shell, and it's one that's had her family puzzled for generations. The image, taken sometime in the 1950s, shows Shell's grandmother, father, aunt and uncle posing happily together outside their home. But there's something, or rather someone, else in the frame that no one can explain. Behind the grandmother, partially obscured by her shoulder, appears the faint outline of a figure wearing black sunglasses. According to Shell, the family insists that no one was standing there when the picture was taken. They've speculated about it for decades, unable to reach a satisfying conclusion. Looking closely, the angle of the metal fencing behind the group makes it seem almost impossible for anyone to have been hidden behind her without being noticed. If it was simply a shadow or photographic defect, the proportions and definition of the figure make it unusually distinct, almost too detailed for a trick of light. So what do you think? Is this just a curious case of pareidolia, the mind forming familiar shapes out of light and shadow, or could this be something a little more mysterious? Whatever the truth, one thing's for sure, this family photo has preserved a mystery that's haunted Shell's relatives for nearly 70 years. The spooky season is well and truly upon us, so now's the perfect time to grab some spooky Slapped Ham merch. We've got eerie tees, cozy hoodies, creepy stickers and caps, plus all orders over $50 get free shipping. Hit the link in the description or the one we've pinned in the comments down below and get your Halloween haul before it disappears. A short and unsettling video uploaded to TikTok by Nyck Caution has left viewers divided after capturing a man behaving strangely in what appears to be a parking lot. The eerie footage quickly went viral, with some viewers claiming the man's bizarre posture and movements seemed not entirely human. A few even suggested a paranormal explanation, likening his behaviour to demonic possession or trance-like states seen in alleged haunting footage. Others, however, offered more grounded theories, pointing to possible drug use or mental distress, suggesting that the man's erratic actions might have a medical or psychological cause rather than a supernatural one. Whatever the reason, it's a clip that's hard to forget.
And I don't really know why. I have tried to take medicine for it and stuff.
Dustin Lee Frazier is a TikToker known for his unsettling videos. We've featured several on our channel before.
I have tried.
Recently, he has shared yet another spine-chilling clip that's left viewers on edge.
So I'm just sitting here watching Scooby-Doo. You know, it has been storming on and off all night.
The video begins innocently enough. The poster appears to be at work, casually watching Scooby-Doo on his computer during a stormy night. But then things take a terrifying turn.
See, there is nothing standing over here, right? But look. What the f is that? This is me.
As the TikToker pans his camera toward a nearby TV screen, a faint reflection can be seen, the unmistakable outline of an old woman standing behind him. However, when he quickly turns the camera around, the room is completely empty. He swings the camera back to the TV, and the eerie figure seems to have moved closer. Again, he checks behind him. No one there.
And like, I turn.
When he turns back a third time, the shadowy figure has shifted once more, appearing right behind his reflection. Panicking, the TikToker bolts from the room, ending the video abruptly. Viewers flooded the comments with theories. Some claim that if you listen closely, you can hear a faint whisper just after he mentions Scooby-Doo. One user even insists the voice says the show's name.
So I'm just sitting here watching Scooby-Doo, you know. It has been storming, you know. It has been storming, you know. It has been storming on and off all night.
Others pointed out something even more disturbing, a dark, shadow-like figure standing against the wall in the background. It's hard to spot at first, but when the footage is slowed down, a clear shape seems to emerge from the gloom. Whether it's a trick of the light or something far more sinister, this chilling clip has become one of the most talked about uploads from Dustin Lee Frazier yet.
But there's nothing there. And like, I turn.
A viewer of ours, Chris James, sent us one of the most detailed and haunting personal accounts we've ever received. A story that spans decades, blending childhood fear, UFO encounters, and unexplained symbols. His case was written up in full by Dave Hudrian, chairman of the Birmingham UFO Group. It all began in November 1975 when Chris was just 5 years old, living with his family on Fentham Road in Erdington, Birmingham. He shared a bunk bed with his younger brother. One night, he suddenly awoke to find a figure standing beside his bed, only a foot away. The being was about 3.5 feet tall, with an oval, hairless head and large dark eyes reflecting the faint light from the hallway. Terrified, Chris screamed. The figure immediately dropped to the floor and seemed to roll beneath the bed, vanishing straight into the wall. When his parents ran in and turned on the light, the room was empty. Chris told them there had been someone under the bed, but his father dismissed it as a dream. Years later, when Chris asked his brother about the night, his brother casually replied, "You mean the alien?" A response that stunned him. That strange night in 1975 marked the start of what would become a lifelong series of otherworldly experiences for Chris James. 6 years later, in 1981, Chris was attending a boarding school in Wolverhampton, a sprawling Victorian-era complex known for its drafty corridors and long, echoing hallways. One weekend, while playing outside with friends, he fell into a ditch and tore his knee open badly enough to require stitches. The injury meant a lonely night in the school's sick bay, a part of the building that, even by day, felt heavy with age. The sick bay had iron-framed beds, flickering lights, and the constant drip of water from the old plumbing. That night, Chris was the only student there. As the hours passed, the wind rattled the windows and distant footsteps echoed through the halls. But the silence between those sounds was almost worse. He lay awake until nearly 1:30 a.m., nerves stretched thin. Finally, deciding he couldn't stand it any longer, he got up to find the night duty officer, hoping she might let him return to the dormitory. The corridors were dimly lit by weak emergency lights. When he reached the office, he saw what appeared to be a woman sitting in the chair, her outline faintly illuminated by the glow of a wall clock. Believing it was the duty officer, Chris politely asked if he could go back to the dorm. The woman replied with a simple yes. Relieved, he thanked her and made his way back through the creaking hallway back to his own bed, where exhaustion finally took over. But not long after, he was jerked awake by bright light shining in his face. Standing over him was the real night duty officer holding a flashlight. "There you are," she exclaimed. "We've been looking for you." Confused, Chris told her he'd already spoken to her earlier in the office. But when she heard this, her face went pale. "I've been downstairs doing laundry for the last few hours," she said firmly. "You didn't talk to me." The realization struck them both in eerie silence. There was no one else on duty that night. No other woman could have been in that office. To this day, Chris remembers not only the brief conversation, but the calm, almost emotionless tone of the figure's voice. Not cold or hostile, but detached, as if spoken through a distance. He believes what he encountered was a ghostly apparition, perhaps a lingering presence tied to the old building's history. Years later, in 2003, while living in Cleethorpes near the River Humber, Chris witnessed something even more dramatic. During a thunderstorm, he and his landlord saw dozens of glowing white orbs darting around inside the storm clouds, up to 50 of them moving intelligently, avoiding one another, flashing as they entered and exited the clouds. The display lasted for nearly 45 minutes. Chris later contacted the Ministry of Defence's UFO desk, which replied that electrical interference had prevented any radar detection. But perhaps the most mysterious event came decades later in February 2020. Chris awoke from a dream at 2:30 a.m., feeling an overwhelming urge to draw. Without knowing why, he grabbed a notepad and filled a page with unusual geometric symbols, lines, and X patterns, automatic writing he couldn't explain. The symbols didn't match any known language, but they bore similarities to markings reported by other UFO contactees worldwide. Today, Chris is still searching for answers. He hopes to undergo regression hypnosis to uncover what really happened that night in 1975, and perhaps on other nights since. His story has been investigated and documented by researchers who consider it one of the most compelling long-term contact cases in the UK. Whether these experiences represent encounters with something extraterrestrial, paranormal, or psychological, Chris's memories have remained vivid for nearly 50 years, a powerful reminder that some childhood fears never truly fade. Alright gang, now if you want to submit your own content, we have a brand new website that we've built from scratch, from the ground up, for you guys to submit your own content. It's at slappedhamsubmissions.com. So it's a 3-step process. Number 1, choose your type of submission. So whether you're suggesting content or submitting your own. So if you've seen some content around, say on TikTok or Instagram, or you want to suggest a reel or clip, then use this. Option number 2, if you've got your own video, photo, or story, then select submit your own content. Fill out the form, preferably using the who, what, now format. That way we can build out a bit of a story based on your content. It makes it more interesting for other viewers. So we'll review your submissions. So for example here, upload your whatever it is, clip, photo, etc. Fill out all your details, describe it as best you can. That way we can write a much better segment and it's much more entertaining for the rest of the Slapped Ham community. Then you have to verify that you own the rights to the content and you are allowing us to use the content. You retain full rights, of course. You're just granting us permission to show it on our channel, submit the content, and then if it's interesting enough, we may feature it on the channel. So check it out. It's at slappedhamsubmissions.com. We'll put a link in the description box every episode. So if you want to submit your own content, check that out. We'll also pin it in the comments. A short but unsettling video uploaded to TikTok by the Scare Hub has left viewers baffled after capturing bizarre behaviour at an outdoor gym. Her companion quickly notices and, clearly unsettled, steps away before walking off entirely, leaving the woman continuing her unnerving routine alone. The clip ends without explanation, but the woman's rigid posture and vacant expression have drawn dozens of theories online. Some viewers suggested she might be possessed under the influence of something unseen, or even moving in a trance-like state. Others offered more rational takes, that she could be experiencing a medical issue, or that the clip might have been staged to look more sinister than it is. Whatever the truth, the woman's unnatural movements give the video an undeniably creepy edge, another mysterious clip that feels straight out of a real-life horror scene. If you want to help our channel grow, then smash that like button, share this on your socials, and leave some comments down below. Much appreciated. In early 2025, a new preprint titled Unidentified Aerial Phenomena, Characterization of Dark UAPs by Boris Gilyaev, Vladimir Petukov, and Sergei Pokvala has grabbed attention in UFO research circles. The paper attempts to describe a class of objects so dim they are nearly invisible to traditional optical detection systems, dubbed dark UAPs, or phantoms. These phantoms are claimed to reflect only about 3% or less of light, meaning they absorb most of the radiation that hits them, making them extremely hard to see in visible wavelengths. In some of the paper's cases, the objects are estimated to span 3 to 6 kilometers in linear dimension, and the authors say observed speeds exceed Mach 2.5, or more than 2.5 times the speed of sound in several instances. During daytime, a dark UAP might be faintly visible in the optical spectrum. At night, they propose that such objects can only be seen via infrared thermal emissions. To support their claims, the authors used 2 weather media camera stations separated by about 120 kilometers, enabling a basic triangulation strategy to cross-check observations from different points. One of the more sensational claims is that these dark UAPs were observed in Ukraine's war zones, where airspace sees a lot of aerial activity. If true, these observations would place these objects well outside the envelope of known technology or known natural phenomena. However, the paper's bold claims have sparked serious scrutiny from both within and outside the UAP community. One of the biggest issues centers on how the authors estimate the distance to the objects. If they misjudge that, then the derived size and speed scale up or down wrongly. Harvard astrophysicist Abraham Loeb has already argued that distances in the Kiev studies might be overstated. If an object is 10 times closer than assumed, then its apparent speed, size, and energy requirements drop by large factors, making the object far less exotic. In Loeb's view, many phantoms could be artillery shells, drones, or war zone debris that simply appear mysterious under certain conditions. If an object is truly moving at supersonic speeds and is large, it should encounter significant air resistance and heating, likely creating visible trails, glows, or sonic interactions. The fact that the Ukrainian papers do not report bright fireballs, exhaust trails, or sonic booms is taken by critics as a red flag. Loeb argues that the hypothesis of huge, fast, dark objects that don't ignite or show signs of atmospheric friction violates basic principles of aerodynamics and thermodynamics. If such objects existed with the properties claimed, they would challenge many physical models. The concept of dark UAPs forces researchers to contend with phenomena that defy direct optical detection. If credible, it suggests UFOs might hide in plain sight, blending into the background. For now, the dark UAP hypothesis remains a fascinating mix of bold observation and scientific controversy. A reminder that even in an age of advanced technology, the skies can still surprise us. Whether these elusive objects prove to be errors, misidentifications, or something genuinely extraordinary, their study marks a growing effort to move UFO research from speculation towards serious, data-driven inquiry. Now, if you want to see some more spooky content, then hit those links right there. They'll keep you entertained for hours and hours. Leave us some feedback down in the comments. Which one of these clips you thought was the scariest or weirdest? We love hearing your feedback. And that's it for me. I'll see you all next time.